in your mind, for you and for I. I'm trying to decide from the look in your eyes, yeah. I mean besides, but your feelings inside you.
Let's get this shit started, baby. Episode 11.
Episode 11.
Damn. What's going on? Listeners, everybody listening right now through your
Your earpods and your damn MP3 players or cassettes. We've come a long way. I feel like one of those Rocky movies because I grew like a beard a little bit. Like we've just been like weathering.
You're going through it.
We've been weathering the storm to get to episode 11 and shit.
Yeah.
For real though.
That's 11 weeks, which kind of trips me out. I think I start every podcast by saying that because I'm still going through that portion of my life, and I don't know if I'll ever get out of it where I'm just like, man, time is flying by.
Literally.
I think everyone's really sick of hearing me say that, but if you can relate, hey, who can relate?
I don't even know what day it is today, to be honest. Like, I got to think about it.
It's Friday the 13th, bro.
I don't know about that.
Isn't that what happens when it turns to October? Every day's Friday the 13th?
Every day? Oh, I get what you're saying.
So check it. To everybody listening, I had to fucking like kind of force myself to do this topic, not really because it was really just inside pounding it, but I was like, you know what, man? I just don't want to sound like a dick. But one thing that I've come to realize is that if you're confident in your opinion or the information you're about to share, and it's not necessarily going to harm anybody or anything, and you think it actually might do some people good, you got to say fuck everybody and go out there and express that shit.
It's the reality.
That's the reality. And here's some shit that I'm going to just throw out right there. I think I run into so many fucking people who want to just sit and bullshit and say that they want to be entrepreneurs, and they don't take the actions that reflect that. They just fucking talk and fucking talk. And that was me for probably a good year or two while I dealt with imposter syndrome and I was coming up as an entrepreneur and stuff like that, because it was really hard for me to get started, just like it's really hard for everyone to get started, just to pull that trigger. So I've got a little bit of sympathy, but the reason I got to just be so cutthroat and raw right now and just lay it out there is because the truth is that no fucking shit will happen to you, whether you're trying to start a business, a small clothing brand, or you just want to make some money for yourself on the side or anything. No fucking shit is going to happen at all until you take an action. That could be anything from going on Craigslist and listing your services to reading a fucking article about how to offer your services to people or whatever. But the fucking thing that I see is so many people with iPhones spending time on TikTok and all this fucking bullshit, and they say, oh, I want to be an entrepreneur, I want to be this, whatever, and then they just don't go out there and execute. And I get so passionate and so pissy about it, and I sound like a dick because I care so much. It's like, guys, like, if you could just see taking that one fucking action will change the game for you. It will change the game for you. So that's why I get so like pissy and I'm cussing up a storm and everything, because I'm so passionate about it, because I want entrepreneurs, aspiring entrepreneurs and people to realize literally it just takes action.
Yeah. I think the hardest part about it is I think like there are a lot of people who take actions, but like sporadically, right? Like not like in a consistent fashion.
Okay.
Like I think that, you know, people will have a good phase of like a month where they're just killing it, right? But then like two of the next months that go by, it's like kind of slow. They're not really feeling it, so they kind of do other shit or whatever. And then by the fourth month, then they're back in it, and it's like a pattern like that. But I feel like the people who are like successful in anything, like they're able to consistently do it, like, you know.
Yeah.
But like you woke me up to like the whole thing about balance too. I think balance is very key, but I think the key is like overall, like in your whole month, how consistent can you be throughout the year? You know what I'm saying? Instead of like taking a phase in, phase out, phase in, phase out type thing.
That makes sense.
Yeah.
And so when I'm talking shit right now about all this, I mean, I'm talking specifically just about the facet of people who, and there's two main components to this. It's you're the person who you probably have these dreams and these things that you want to achieve and these big goals, and you talk about them. So that's one thing. You have these dreams and whatever, and you talk about them, and then you don't execute. That's the thing. If you're a person who's just like, yeah, you know, like, I kind of keep it to myself, whatever, like maybe you're not super passionate about it, whatever, is just kind of a thing in your mind, then I'm not talking about you. I'm literally just talking about the people who want to talk about what they're going to do. And I've run into these people and I just want to grab them by the fucking shoulders and be like, dude, literally stop fucking talking and just take some action. And I'm not trying to talk all that shit like I'm the shit
Yeah.
and I'm better than people. It's nothing like that. I'm just saying from my own experience, every single time I execute, take action, and I try to be consistent, and I am consistent, I see results.
Yeah.
People, the fucking like complainer culture and victim culture puts a fucking thumb up my ass. Like that shit just fucking sets me off from people on Twitter and Instagram or whatever who have if you can listen to this podcast, if you can charge your phone, chances are you're not doing too bad because you've got a fucking phone in your pocket and you have access to the internet. You have access to free information. This is free information. We're not fucking charging anyone for the things that we're saying. And it's like, I just feel like there's this culture that is unbelievably propagated by a victim mentality on social media.
Yeah.
There's totally like this huge culture of people on fucking social media who just want to be pessimists and I can't even get into it.
I think that like the craziest part about it is, I'm going to say I do have a little sympathy because I think we've all been there at some point. And I think that it takes a certain mindset to want to get out of it. But when you're so surrounded by it, it becomes normal. And so you really think like this is how it is, right? Yeah. And so your mind is kind of like not open to other suggestions because
you're brainwashed.
Exactly. So I think that's why it's so important to surround yourself with the right people. I think that's like one of the most important things like ever because
Yes.
you are a direct reflection of the people you hang out with. So like they say like if you have 5 friends, like you're a combination of all 5 of those friends somehow. So
and I agree.
Yeah, and so I think that, it's hard because if you've grown up, let's say your top 5 people are people you've grown up with and shit, before you wanted to get in the mindset of like, I want to go get this. It's hard to break out of that because you're so attached to certain people that you believe the same things they do, you talk the same way, you act the same way. And so it could be really, really hard to break out of that. But like, I think that when you finally do break out of it, remember that feeling of how hard it was to break out of it and just like use that to like never look back. You know what I mean? And just keep moving forward and keep executing because I think that's like the biggest thing. You know what I mean? Like, I think that there are some people who just don't execute because they're just like, I don't want to and I'm lazy. But I think a lot of it has to do with just not knowing and just being around the wrong people with the wrong mindset and not realizing that's the wrong mindset. You're just so conditioned that it's normal. You know what I mean? But going off what you're saying, like how there are people who are lazy and don't want to execute and just want to talk, you got to realize like, yo, talking does not mean shit.
Yeah.
It's, if anything, it's a supplement. I think the action is the number one thing. That's what's really going to get the results. That's really going to what's going to drive you forward. And the talking should be, or what's that quote they say? Like the most successful people talk the least. They're the ones that listen the most and talk the least. But while the people who are really trying to figure it out and like who don't know what they're doing, they talk the most because they got to compensate because they feel like they're not at that level yet. So they have to compensate with their talking. So it's interesting how it works, but I think it's all like it's all a mind game. You know what I mean?
I get what you're saying, that these people may not, they're not purposefully ignorant to the type of information or whatever it is that's going to get them to that next level. It's that they're just conditioned. They're in a situation. Okay. So what can Jacob Moore and Ryan Ramirez say right now for people who may not even know that they're preconditioned? I feel like that's such a bullshit way to put. I don't want to put it like that, but let's just put out some advice then from our own experience, which isn't huge.
Yeah,
we're not fucking doctors or professionals or whatever you want to say, but like what could we say to people who can't get started?
I can't get started.
Yes. So number 1, like you said, surround yourself with the right people, because what could be keeping you from getting started is the people right fucking next to you that you hang out with every day. And you are so comfortable with hanging out with them and being around them that you may just filter through the negativity that they have. Yeah. I've hung out with people who after a long time, I was like, damn, these people are just saying some really negative things that aren't boosting me up in the way that I need in order to be successful. And so you may not be able to filter those things out because you're so tight and comfortable with those people. But what I have to say is, and I'm actually reading a book that Ryan let me borrow right now. Was it called The Magic of Thinking Big? The Magic of Thinking Big. And in one of the chapters, they were saying, be social. enter new social circles and meet people and shake new hands with people, and you'll probably find a ton of people who can influence you in a positive way, way better than your current crew can or other people. And I think that's huge too. So if you're having trouble getting started, so number one, you know, that doesn't mean you got to switch up on your friends and you're a fucking dick now and you're changed or whatever. It's like, dude, you're just trying to take a path that's going to lead you to your ideal version of success.
Yeah.
Right? So
I think like if you're struggling to find those people, like I think there's got to be one person that you know that when you're around them, you feel better. When you're around them, they just radiate confidence, and you're always just like, there's something about this person that I want to be like. I would say like, find that one person if you have them, which I'm sure everyone has at least one person like that, and learn. Ask questions, dude. Like I feel like the most successful people ask questions. They want to know. They want to feed. Like it's not cool to ask questions.
Yeah.
If anything, it's the opposite, because you're gonna fucking progress, and this guy's not, because you are taking in the knowledge that you need to be great.
Bro,
you know?
Yes.
Yeah.
Fucking nailed it.
Yeah.
Yes. And I'm just thinking back to how fucking stupid it is. Like when I'm in high school or whatever, and I'm like afraid to raise my hand to share an answer.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like I
That's
grow
crazy.
up and I'm like trying to be social, and I'm like, fuck, dude, I should have been like more social my whole life.
I feel that,
and I should have taken those opportunities and talked to that girl and raised my fucking hand.
Yeah.
God damn, I wish I had that attitude and mentality back then, but that's life.
I would say
Yeah.
like 98% of the time in high school, I was the same way. But then like the 2%, right, where I did say fuck it, and I became cool with the teachers, like here's the thing. You know, in high school, it's a weird thing to be a teacher's pet type thing, right? Yeah. And I think there's a difference between like just bringing gifts to your teacher and whatever the fuck, but like there was a couple teachers where I really just did a great job and like just connected with the teacher. And they would tell me things that boosted my confidence, like you are going to be successful, like you're going to be someone, like, you know what I'm saying? And that fed into later in my life, because I remember those things from adults. Yeah. Right? From the kids, yes, at the time I valued what high schoolers thought, right, at the time. But now as an adult, I look back at what the adults said about me, and that means more to me than what the fucking kids said, because we didn't know what we're doing in high school. So it's interesting to see, like, you know what I mean? Yeah. So I same thing. I wish that the 98% of the time I like didn't care about that, and I just like cared about really excelling. You know what I mean?
It's crazy how getting that respect from an adult, or not even an adult, but just a person you respect. Yeah. And I feel like, that happened to me a couple times. I mean, I have one teacher from high school who I'm still really good friends with, and she has given me the courage and the confidence and everything with statements like that. She'll be like, dude, you're killing it. Good job. Those little things. And hey, teacher or not, friend, uncle, whatever person your age, a mentor, older, whatever, when you surround yourself with people that are constantly giving those compliments and sharing positivity, dude, like, I'm getting more spiritual and shit hanging out with you, because you're all about like the vibes, the setting, the positive energy, like those things. And I'm coming to realize that shit is so important, bro. Yeah, it's so important. And it's just, hey, as I get older, it's those things. Like when you're a kid, you can kind of like harden up a little, whatever, and not really think about it too much, about those extraneous characteristics of your conversations with who you're surrounding yourself with. But then you get a little older and you start looking at it a little more granular, and like you're picking these pieces out of like what's really affecting me, what's really impacting me. And dude, communication is everything. I mean, your entire day, your life is, the premise is of you communicating with people. That's what's going to land you a job. That's what's going to get you to the top of your industry or whatever it is. So,
and just making someone believe in you, like making someone just think you're like dope, especially adults. Yeah. Like in high school, like it doesn't matter what like the kids think. It doesn't, because the majority of the cool ones that I've realized like are not cool anymore.
Yeah, except me and you.
Like, well, we were pretty cool. I'm not gonna lie, in our own ways though.
We were cool to each other. Yeah, you know.
I feel like we were those guys though that like we had different groups of friends, and like we were able to like be like a chameleon and shit, and like hang out with this like study group and be cool with them, and then hang out with the biker group or the skaters and hang out with them, hang out with the music guys, hang out with them. Yeah. But we definitely weren't like popular. Like I don't think we were like fucking like the king of Kennedy High School and shit. But
nah. Yeah, I looked like a girl for like half of high school, so I don't think we were that cool. But yeah, man.
In the 80s, that was a cool thing. You brought it back.
That's true. I'm just bringing it back, man. What's something else? So I mean, that's huge. First and foremost is surrounding yourself with good people. I think another thing that can help you get started and get out of the rut is educating yourself.
Yeah.
Purchasing a book related to whatever you're trying to do. So if you're trying to be a music artist, I mean, there are so many free on, like, go to Adam Ivy's YouTube channel or Damien K's or whoever the fuck it is.
Yeah.
And educate yourself and consume that information. It's like, look, dude, if you're going to sit on TikTok for a couple hours or Netflix or whatever, which I've been doing like a motherfucker. I've been on TikTok like every day. That shit is hilarious.
Yeah.
But you know what it does to your brain and your motivation and everything. But it's like, dude, if you're going to sit on staring at your phone for 3 hours, do something that's going to educate you. Watch something that's going to educate you.
I would say be careful. Be careful with... Okay, you got to make sure that the education you're getting and the knowledge you're receiving matches with the action, though, because I think there was a period of time that I've realized, like, I would watch so much shit and like read so much shit and not do anything that it didn't feel right. Like I felt like I was using watching shit as an excuse not to do shit. Is that, if that makes sense?
It does.
I feel like you got to make sure that your action is matching what you're learning and you're like doing both at the same time. Because if one is like more of the other, then it's like you're kind of like out of balance with it. So I thought that was kind of interesting, like when I realized that, because you can definitely hide behind like taking in knowledge. Like there's like people who go to seminars and shit, like business seminars all year.
Yeah.
They live for that shit, but they don't, like, you still see them and they're still stagnant with what they're doing.
Fucking Dan from sales.
But they can tell you anything about like they know it all. But it's like, why haven't you progressed? It's because you didn't take the action. You went to all the seminars, but you didn't put in the action, the work part of it. You know?
Educate yourself, but find that midpoint between education and action. Is that it?
Yeah.
Okay. And I can agree with that
Yeah.
as a dude who went to college.
Yeah.
You know what I'm
For sure,
saying?
yeah.
So it's like there's constantly that conversation between everybody of like, well, yeah, you're learning, but you're not really doing, but you know,
Yeah.
and there's all that stuff. And I'll say, I think like there's no one thing that's more important than each other, because uneducated and uninformed action sometimes would have been better than no action.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? In certain situations.
Yeah.
But if all you have is the best education, you can't execute and take action, then it's fucking worthless, because you can't use that knowledge to create something better than what is currently there, whether it's your situation or a product or a service or whatever.
Yeah.
Good point. Great point.
For sure.
Great point. My great point. No, I'm just fucking, I'm like, dude, Jacob, great point.
Yeah.
He said, yeah, two things.
So the topic today was what, like no excuses type vibe?
Yeah, but I mean, I'm just vibing, drinking this Hefeweizen. Ryan, would you like some Hefeweizen?
The Joseph's Brow.
Joseph's Bra. Welcome to Joseph's Bra.
That's
Bavarian style Hefeweizen. Yeah, I got these at Trader Joe's, bro. The girl was just like, yeah, you can grab whatever beer you want. Like, just grab single ones.
You're like, can I get your number too?
So yeah, take whatever you want. I was like, yeah, let me take that number for sure.
That's awesome.
I never called.
Damn. She's probably like waiting for you. She's sitting by her phone like waiting.
That's true. She's like, I wonder if that guy with the mask on from work is gonna fucking
mask
text.
on.
It is so hard to fucking like talk to girls and shit with a mask on.
Yeah. You could tell by the eyes though in a way. Like if they're cute. in a
Yeah,
way,
that's
you know
why
what mean?
I walk up with my eyebrows up, like all
call me
raised,
crazy
and
eyes.
all fucking crazy eyes. And shit. I just give them the look. I don't even say anything. I look at a girl and yeah, that's what happens.
awesome.
Ugh, man. Hey, what's been going on with you lately, bro? Like in the world of Ryan Ramirez.
I've been very, let me think here. I've been very like off social media in a
Good.
way. So good, but not good, because I think it's good to like take a step back and reflect and everything. But this is my job. Social media is a part of my job.
Your job is to podcast.
Well, podcast. I'm talking more like Instagram, like TikTok type vibe. But yeah, I don't know. I think that this past like 2 months, like me and Jacob always talk about too, like it's been like a tough like 2 or 3 months somehow. Like I don't know, like we had a great time before that, and then all of a sudden like just shit just started happening, you know, all over the place. But basically, like I just felt like I had to stop with the posting grind, because I felt like I was like in a cage, just like I have to, which I do have to, but it's like I had to take a step back for a second and be like, okay, let me just work on my craft. Let me just take my mind away from it, because I notice the more I look at my phone throughout the day, the more tired I get. But like the past, I would say like week or so, I tried to not really post as much and just like focus on my craft and everything. And I usually crash at like 1 or 2 p.m. I haven't been doing that. Like I've just been awake all day. So it's interesting how I feel like technology, when you're on it too long, like it does something to your mind to where it's like you just get like brain fried. You know that feeling? Yeah. And you just want to take a nap and shit. So I kind of stopped doing that, but I'm trying to figure out how to get back into it, but still have that same energy that I got from not doing it. You know what I mean? What about you?
I've been taking a lot of time to just reflect on shit.
Yeah.
And I think we were talking about this just when we hung out like a day or two ago, but I think I was telling you on the phone or on FaceTime or something, but I've been so micro focused looking at the day-to-day Spotify for artist numbers and Pandora amp numbers and Apple Music and trying to like figure out how to use the fucking digital ads budget and whatever, and like on a day-to-day, week-to-week thing, and I've just been like going insane. And I haven't even gotten to step back and look at things from a macro perspective. Word to Gary V on that whole micro macro type shit.
That's genius though.
You know, but yeah, so I haven't really gotten a chance to kind of like zoom out and reflect and be like, okay, like I'm doing this on the day to day, but am I so zoomed in that I'm losing sight of what our year end goals are? You know, it's like I haven't even flipped over my whiteboard to look at our 2020 year end goals in a minute. Yeah. I'm just so focused on like the day to day shit. And that can be, I think, as a result of just like wanting to constantly act and execute and like get shit done. Like I like to work. I don't care if it's like moving shit in my backyard or driving somewhere or like doing shit on the computer, music manager stuff. I just like to work. And sometimes I can get lost in that and just dig myself into a hole of like constantly wondering whatever, but never even like reflecting back on what the true vision is. And that's what's important, you know, like that's what guides a company, an individual, a family, a relationship, whatever, is having this vision, and then your actions hopefully help you achieve that vision. But yeah, man, no, I've just been taking a lot of time to just reflect on that type of shit and be like, okay, you know, and it's easy to trip myself up on like a bad day, because like one problem I've been having with the power list is like I'll get a lot of W's and then I'll get one L and I'm like, fuck!
Yeah, broke my streak and shit.
Yeah, but then it's like okay, wait, I got 4 things done out of the 5, and you're telling me because I forgot to read one chapter today that I lost the day.
I forgot to eat one piece of fruit today.
Yeah, it's like,
I feel that.
You know, it's the little, but then I understand you have to be so critical because that's the standard that you have to like strive for. But yeah, so the power list I've been like a little iffy with lately, just on that whole micro macro type thing. I
feel like the power list is definitely like, I don't know if these are the right words, but like a blessing and a curse.
Yes.
Because like what you said, you can get 4 things done and not have that 5th thing done and write an L and still feel kind of shitty about your day, but you put in all that work.
You know you killed it though.
Yeah, like yeah. But at the same time, it's like that's what pushes you to like to that next level. Yeah. Like, you know, I did 3 tasks today. I don't feel like the other 2, but I really don't want that L. So you do it anyways, and it's like, oh shit, I just went above and beyond what a normal person would do. They would use their feelings and be like, I did enough. I'm feeling good.
Damn.
You know what I'm saying? Like that's what that extra like gauge, that extra gear is. You know what I mean? So, but it's tough because I've definitely had a thing with the power list. I would say the past month, like just feeling like I'm in a cage. You know what I mean? Like I'm just so obliged to like do this, which is a good thing though, because I'm just gonna continue to grow fast. Yeah. Over someone who isn't. But at the same time, it's like you gotta like let yourself take some L's sometimes and like take a step back and think like perspective wise, like, okay, instead of just doing these mundane tasks every day, how can I step back for a second and see like, okay, what do I got to do what can I do to enhance the process and also make it better for myself? Like, how do I feel better about it? But yeah, that's another thing I've been kind of dealing with the past month is like, I think there was like 2 like we went to Arizona. I was like, no power list. Fuck that.
Fuck no, Fuck baby. That. Hey,
Hey,
how was Arizona?
Arizona was dope.
That shit was
I had a great time.
Fucking dope.
I was
to
awesome.
Everybody listening, Ryan and I
We're gonna move to Arizona one day. Me and Jacob.
I'm gonna get a house out there.
I'm gonna live in Surprise.
Surprise! Yeah, no, Arizona was sick. We fucking went out there, met up with some people, drank, chilled out, like took a vacation. You know what I'm saying?
We turned back into like teenagers. I feel like not teenagers, but like normal people. You know what
No,
I'm
for real.
saying?
I got that. Dude, it was so funny because like we were driving there and I like got a notification on my phone from my day job and I looked at it and I was like, all right, Jacob, hey, you just got a text. Don't worry about it. Oh, put it back in my pocket and I went, hey, be normal. I'm normal. You were like, how you doing, Jake? I went, hey, I'm being normal, bud. Hey, we are all good. Getting in the club, I'm like thinking of my power list, like, and I'm like shook. The girl next to me, Lexi, she's like, you good? And I'm just like, yeah, I'm normal. I'm on vacation. I'm a normal person. I'm on vacation, baby. Get me another Corona, yeah.
This guy had a girl flirting with him, and all of a sudden he's like, at the same time talking to her, like doing some work on his phone and shit. No, I'm just kidding.
I was like, yeah, I'm pretty sure that's happened. Yeah, that shit.
Like, hold on, I gotta reply to Hector 1 second.
Who's Hector? My accountant. Third quarter's looking great.
But yeah, I think that, yeah, so Arizona, I didn't do the power list. There were a couple days sporadically I was like, fuck it, I'm not writing a list.
Yeah.
But then even then I was like, I still did shit, like worked on my vocals or dancing or whatever it was. But yeah, it's like I said, it sometimes feels like you're in a cage. So anybody else out there, like, I think it's easy to feel alone, right? It's easy to feel alone because you kind of are alone in the sense that no one else is really doing that kind of shit. Mm-hmm. You know what I'm saying? So just know that if you're listening, like, you're not alone with this shit. Like, me and Jacob be on the shit in the regular. So yeah.
That's true. That is so true. Sometimes I can get up here and be such a big old dick. And I'm just like talking all this shit, like, stop making excuses, whatever. But it's like, man, hey,
yeah,
we're here for you guys.
But just know, like, when we do that, like, it's out of like
It's out of love, dude.
Yeah, and it's just like the honesty. It's like, this is the reality, and we're only like that because we care.
Yeah,
you know what I mean.
It's true. There's like probably 4 or 5 people in mind, like whenever we do the podcast, just friends who I know who aren't even like my good friends, but like maybe people who I became friends with in college or like other music artists and stuff. And it's like, dude, I see them hustling. And every time I'm talking about entrepreneurship or something, I think of them because I'm like, fuck, man, like, these people are so dope. They're doing the type of shit that we're doing.
Yeah.
And like, I just want to drive all my friends and everybody to go off and do that shit, man. And it's, I just look around and I'm like, dude, it's so attainable. Like, I have a friend who does stuff with like clothing and another friend who does stuff with like fitness. And I'm like, guys, we can all make a fuckload of money. I promise we can. Like, so then I get on the podcast and that's why I get so like, yo, just fucking do that shit, you know?
Yeah. I would say, too, this past month, like, I got a pretty good taste of like not being on the grind. So I would say the past year, like when I started the power list, I've been very hyper focused. Like, I rarely did stuff. I rarely was social, like here and there, but not like so where I got into a habit of being social. You know what I mean? Like, this was my habit, like every single day for a whole year. And I feel like the past month, I went to a couple parties. We went to Arizona. I went to Havasu. I kind of got into like this habitual thing of like being social, like every day somehow. And it's crazy how when you're not hyper focused, like when you're hyper focused on your goal and that's like your main thing, it's easy to do it in a way. Like, it's easy to kill it every day because that's all that matters to you. But now when you throw in things in the mix of like, oh, but I have friends who do, like, I just want to be social. Like, I want to do fun things. I want to go to the river. I want to do like all this fun shit. I feel like when you do too much of it, then it's like, you start losing interest in like your goal. Cause I felt like this past month I was like, do I even want this? Like, I really enjoy doing this shit. Like, I'm getting pulled this way. Right. But that's why I think I was so like, resistant to like the whole balance thing for a while, because I knew that part of me. I knew like once I start hanging out with people and doing fun shit like consistently, that it was going to take me away from the goal. You know what I mean? But I think that's like a whole nother thing to master. You know what I mean? Like, as you're an adult or like an entrepreneur, just like being able to balance like having fun with people and being social and shit, but still killing it. So there's like a weird thing you got to master. You know what I mean?
I just tell myself that maybe 90% of the time that I'm trying to become a wildly successful music manager, it's not that fun. But first off, that 10% that it is fun, and also how fun that future success is going to be, just obliterates any party I could go to today.
Yeah.
Fucking, it obliterates any social thing I could go to or whatever, for the most part. And that's just what I keep telling myself. I'm like, hey, I missed that party this weekend, but I just know that once I achieve this, my parties are going to be crazy.
Oh, 100%.
You know?
Definitely.
So that drives me, and that's true for anybody.
Yeah.
Like partying, like just going out to a club or whatever as a fucking 22 or 23-year-old guy or whatever right now during the pandemic or before the pandemic, whatever. It's like we're young, maybe we don't have a ton of money or whatever. Like, you still have fun. But you know what's really fun is rolling up to your favorite club with 20 G's in the bank, and you say, I don't give a fuck.
Yeah, and you're performing at the club and shit.
Yeah, and you own you own the club,
Yeah,
like
it's
all
like your
that
night.
shit.
Yeah.
And that's the type of shit that I think about constantly, dude. I think one thing, I've been trying to put a bigger focus on making money, because I think no matter what I'm trying to do in life, that money is always going to be a very, very useful foundational tool for that. So us trying to build this big fucking career for us in the music industry, that will be easier with money.
Yeah.
That will be a lot easier with money. Helping my parents around the house, buying groceries, cooking dinner, all this stuff, whatever, everything will be easier. Money is a fucking powerful tool.
I think it's a requirement, to be honest.
Yeah.
Like, for most things, like, you have to have money.
Yeah.
Like, to be successful in the music industry, you have to have money. That's why people who are signed to labels, they're more inclined. I don't want to say more inclined to be successful, but it's
Greater chance.
Yeah, greater chance, because you're given a huge advance of money to use.
Yeah. It's a tool, dude.
Exactly.
It's an absolute tool. And the second, you should try to become really good at getting money as soon as possible, because once you're good at getting money, you pretty much have like the basic foundational thing for life figured out. Some people spend their whole lives trying to figure out how to get money so they can survive or whatever it is. So it's like, dude, you might as well just start on that journey already and figure out the best way that you can make money. And that's something that I've been dealing with lately too, is like, I'm just trying to figure out, like, okay, Jacob, you have these sets of skills. We're in the pandemic right now. Jobs are scarce for whatever I was trying to apply to or whatever. Like, how can you make money? And now that I've begun my day job and I've figured out other ways to make myself money, I feel more motivated in our career, because I'm like, okay, I now have better knowledge of how to get the most important tool for our career, and that's money.
Yeah. And there's something about having like a certain amount of balance in your bank account that brings something else out of you. That's like a confidence and a safety.
Yes.
And it just makes you perform better.
Having money will make you more confident.
Yeah.
It will make you feel good. It will make you feel safe, because the fucked up reality is that people that don't have a lot of money typically live
Miserably.
People can live happily without money, but life can be much more difficult without money. Because there's a guy somewhere in a van who has like no money or whatever and surfs and smokes weed every day and loves his life. And I love that. Like, that to me is fucking dope. But what I'm saying is, I think we can all agree that there maybe are certain difficulties that he has that, you know, if he just had like a bit more money would help. Totally.
Yeah, I think it just gets rid of all the stresses.
Yeah. Like your basic needs, like food, clothing, like all the basic shit, electricity, whatever. You don't even got to fucking worry about it anymore.
Yeah.
Now you can really focus on your goal, right? Because you have like the one fucked up thing that everyone's trying to figure out in life. You got it figured out.
It definitely brings freedom.
Yes.
You know, and I would count having a big debt as like the same thing as like being like broke. You know, I think that like having, I even read it in Think and Grow Rich. I think it's in there. It talks about how like just having debt is like probably one of the worst things like that can happen to you, because it just has like, you just always have this thing in the back of your mind of like you're not ahead, like subconsciously in a way.
One thing I want to say, that is true if it's debt that you can't pay back.
Yes.
If you,
yes.
yeah.
Yeah.
If you take out a loan on a house, but you have rental properties and tenants or whatever that can like pay for that loan, you know what I'm saying, like cash flow and stuff like that. Then but I get what you're saying.
But if you're
yes.
trying to figure it out and you're like, I can't figure out how to pay off this debt, it's going to take me years and years and years to do
Yes.
it. It's like
Yes.
you're always going to have that burden.
Yes.
You know what I'm saying? And going off the spiritual shit, it's like if you have a burden like that, it's hard to manifest new shit because you're not thinking positively, subconsciously about it.
Dude, things can weigh you down mentally and emotionally.
Yeah.
It's so growing up is so crazy. Do we have any listeners who are older than us? Oh wait, like your homie's mom or whatever, right?
Yeah, Alex's mom,
Yeah.
Esther Rath.
Esther Rath.
She's gonna listen and be happy that I said that. So
Yeah.
that's dope.
Yeah, no, but I mean, it's like, am I always gonna be tripping like this as I get older? To our older listeners right now, you know what I'm saying? I feel like I'm always tripping on stuff like that.
I think that what I've realized is that no matter what you do as an adult, the older you get, you develop mental toughness.
Yeah.
Because you have to figure it out.
Yeah.
You have to provide for a family eventually. You have to, provide for your spouse or whatever.
Yeah.
So I think that it's inevitable for you to build mental toughness if you keep going in life.
Yeah.
If you keep, progressing. But
that's a good way to look at it. And that's something that motivates me, dude. Like, as hard as this music industry shit is, I think it's only going to get easier. As we overcome these challenges and difficulties, dude, I think it's going to be easier. Who did you say said it becomes easier?
I think a lot of people said it. I think Grant Cardone said it. I think Andy Frisella said it.
I thought there was someone in the music industry who you said that.
Oh, it was Scooter. Yeah.
Okay.
That podcast when I was listening to on the way back from Arizona.
With Tony Gonzalez?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. He said the hardest part's the beginning. Because even him with Justin, right? People think it was just like he discovered him, boom, 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 and it took off. But like they fucking struggled. Like I think he had him like in a super, super cheap apartment with his mom. Like he flew them out and everything. Like, and he just had him in a super cheap apartment and like they struggled. And he was like down to like his last dollar and shit like that. And like something happened, but he said like it's hard at first. It's the hardest at the beginning because like think about it this way: everyone's trying to do it, right? Now, you get to the next stage, like let's say 3 years later. I would say like maybe like 30 or 40% of the people that you're competing with, quote unquote, they quit. So now you're with less people. You move up the pyramid, and let's say 60% of those people quit because it got too hard and they just couldn't do it. Now you're competing with less people, and it's just less and less and less until you get to the top because everyone's just quitting along the way. So the person who just keeps going and doesn't quit through the hard shit, like it's inevitable they're gonna win because everyone else is quitting. So, but if you take out the competitive part of it, that's only one part of it. Then it's like the farther you go, you're just like it's inevitable for it to happen if you just don't quit, Yeah,
that's true. That's crazy. But yeah, that's one thing that motivates me is I look at it and I'm like, hey man, things are tough. They're going to be really tough, but I know I'm going to reach a point to where I'm going to have so much knowledge and experience and skill that I can only make it easier for myself.
It's like second nature.
Yeah. It's like second nature, man.
Definitely. Yeah, it's a crazy journey though.
It is a crazy journey, man, but these past couple months have just been so shit ass. But to everyone listening, I hope you guys can relate to that. It's like, it kind of perks me up to know that like maybe I don't see it, but there's entrepreneurs everywhere.
Oh yeah,
there's people everywhere. Not even I mean, they're entrepreneurs. You don't even have to be starting a company. You could just have an Instagram page and you're trying to like blow your fucking doodles up or your drawings up or whatever it is. Like if you're just trying to achieve something dope and create something new, we're with you.
Yeah,
we're with you.
It's definitely an emotional roller coaster. But I always keep in mind, like, no matter how hard it gets, I just remember like the past times that shit was really hard, and right after that, like shit got better. So I just remember like all those past times, and I remember like, okay, I got through that. Because like when I was in LA and I got depressed and like I was like, I am not doing music. Like I just can't. But there was something in me that was like, this is your calling, and it's gonna get better. I just knew it was gonna get better somehow. It didn't like it was hard to believe it because shit was just so hard. I didn't feel like myself. Nothing was lined up the right way. I was an underdog, all this shit. But eventually shit just got better. And so I remember that feeling. And so like anytime I have a rough patch, I'm like, there's going to be something better along the way after this. Usually I've realized the times that it's the hardest is when there's a huge shift that's happening. So like it usually like stops me from being so grind crazy, you know, go hard type shit. And it helps me push back and realize like, yo, something's about to change, but you have to step back to see the perspective, like to take in that perspective. You got to step back to see the change and to go with the change. So that's what I've realized. Like anytime shit gets hard, something's about to shift and change for the better though. So just stand back, keep going. Like don't stop, you know? I don't know if you relate to that, but
That was the icing on the cake right there.
okay, tight.
That was fire.
Tight.
Yeah. No, but I can relate to that. And because, you know, I've experienced it. I've experienced it a ton. And right now I would say I'm in a deep valley.
Okay, yeah.
A deep valley, but
Yeah.
I know that peak is going to be like Mount Everest, being on the top of there and looking around and shit, you know? And that's
Yeah.
going to continue. And I mean, those peaks and valleys happen inside of your career, outside of your career. They happen with relationships or whatever it is. Like there have been times where like my personal life was just so fucked. Like so like fuck, you know, just but the business stuff was going great.
Yeah, yeah.
And vice versa.
Yeah.
You got to play with the cards you're dealt.
Yeah. Honestly, dude, like I feel like the one answer to everything is just like you just got to keep going.
Yes.
Because you'll figure it out. Like all the little shit that we're talking about or that we don't even know about yet, that other successful people talk about, it's like you're going to figure it out along the way. As a human, like the more you progress, the more you learn, the more shit becomes second nature to you, the more like better you get with skills and knowledge and all that shit. So like literally just like don't quit.
Yeah.
And you will figure it out along the way, all the pieces.
What's in your mind for you and for I'm trying to decide from the look in your eyes, yeah, yeah. I mean besides, but your feelings inside you. I'm missing on my mind and my spirit, babe.